Have you ever been in the middle of speaking and realized no one was truly hearing you? Your words are coming out, but their eyes are somewhere else. Their attention is gone. Their minds are elsewhere. And in that moment, something inside you sinks. You send a message, then stare at the screen, waiting. Minutes pass, then hours. No reply, no acknowledgement, nothing. You walk into a room hoping to connect, hoping to be noticed, hoping your presence matters. But somehow it feels like you disappear into the background, and the silence starts speaking louder than words ever could. That's when the questions begin. Did I say something wrong? Am I not important enough? Why does it feel like I don't matter? Those questions hurt because being ignored doesn't just bruise your ego, it touches your sense of worth. But here's the uncomfortable truth. People rarely ignore others without a reason. And that reason is often far deeper than you think. It's not always about what you said. It's not always about who you are. Sometimes the real reason people ignore you has everything to do with the signals you're sending, without even realizing it. And once you understand those signals, everything changes. Because the moment you uncover the real reason, you stop blaming yourself and you start taking your power back. Most people walk through life carrying a quiet assumption. I'm being ignored because I'm not enough, not attractive enough, not successful enough, not interesting enough. And over time, that belief starts to shape how you show up, smaller, quieter, more hesitant. But that belief, it's a lie. Because if that were true, the world wouldn't look the way it does. You've seen it. People who barely speak, yet somehow own the entire room. People no one knew yesterday, suddenly everywhere today. People who don't fit the perfect image, yet leave a lasting impression you can't shake. So clearly, it's not about looks. It's not about status. And it's definitely not about trying harder to be liked. So, what's really happening? People respond to something far more subtle and far more powerful. Energy, not the kind you fake, not the kind you perform, but the kind you carry without saying a word. It's in your posture, your tone, your presence, your silence. Before you even speak, people are already deciding how to treat you. And the truth is, most people never learn how to control that signal, which means they unknowingly send the wrong message and then wonder why they're being ignored. Let's get honest for a second. If you're always there, always replying within seconds, always saying yes no matter what, you don't come across as valuable. You come across as expected. And the moment you become expected, you become easy to overlook because there's no tension, no curiosity, no sense of, I might lose this if I don't pay attention. You've removed the very thing that makes people lean in. Think about how people behave in real life. They don't chase what's guaranteed. They chase what feels just out of reach, not unavailable, but not automatic either. So when you give your time, your energy, your attention, without any pause, without any boundaries, you silently teach people something dangerous, that I'll always be here, no matter how you treat me. And once that lesson is learned, effort disappears, respect fades, attention drops. Not because you lack value, but because you've made that value too easy to access. And anything that feels unlimited eventually starts to feel unimportant. That's the shift you have to understand. Availability without boundaries doesn't build connection. It quietly erases it. This one cuts deeper than most people are willing to admit. Because it doesn't show up on the surface, it hides in the small moments. When you laugh a little harder than you feel. When you agree, even though something inside you says no. when you soften your truth just to avoid rejection. That's where it begins. The slow habit of reshaping yourself just to be accepted. And the more you do it, the more invisible you become because people aren't connecting with you anymore. They're interacting with a version you created to please them. And something about that always feels off. Even if no one says it, they sense it. Your energy starts sending a quiet message. I need your approval to feel okay. And the moment that message is felt, respect begins to fade. Not because you're weak, but because you're no longer grounded. Here's the truth most people avoid. Approval seeking repels attention. Self-assurance attracts it. Real confidence doesn't chase reactions. It doesn't perform. It doesn't adjust itself for comfort. It stands. Even if it stands alone. Calm. Certain. Unshaken. And that's the presence people can't ignore because it doesn't ask to be seen. It simply is. This might catch you off guard. Sometimes the reason people tune you out isn't because you're boring. It's because you're overwhelming. Too many words. Too many explanations. Too much trying to prove your point or your worth. You keep talking, thinking clarity will earn attention. But instead, you dilute your message. Because when everything is said, nothing feels important. There's no pause, no space, no reason for someone to lean in and want more. Curiosity disappears. And without curiosity, attention fades. But then there's the other extreme, silence. Not the powerful kind, but the hesitant kind, where you hold back, second guess, stay quiet, even when you have something to say. And in that silence, people can't read you. They can't connect with what they don't understand. So they move on, not out of rejection, but out of confusion. That's why the real power isn't in talking more or talking less. It's in knowing when to speak and what to leave unsaid. Speak with purpose, pause with confidence, because the people who command attention don't fill the room with noise, they shape it with meaning. Let's strip this down to something real. When you walk into a room, do you simply enter or do you arrive? Because those two feel completely different. Some people barely make a sound, yet the entire space shifts when they step in. Heads turn, energy changes, attention locks in without effort. And then there are others, louder, more animated, trying harder, yet somehow they pass through unnoticed. No impact, no memory left behind. So what separates the two? Presence. Not volume, not style, not even confidence in the way most people think. Real presence is internal. It's built on how you see yourself when no one's watching. Self-respect, knowing your value without needing validation. Clarity, understanding who you are and what you stand for. Emotional control, not reacting to everything, not seeking attention, not chasing approval. When those three align, you stop trying to be noticed. And that's exactly when people start noticing you. Because presence isn't something you force outward. It's something people feel from you instantly. And if you don't carry that within yourself, the world will reflect it back, quietly, consistently, until you decide to change it. This is where it gets uncomfortable, but necessary. People don't just decide how to treat you on their own. They learn it by watching what you tolerate. Every ignored message you overlook, every canceled plan you brush off, every moment you accept less than you deserve, you're not keeping the peace. You're setting the standard, and once that standard is set, it sticks. Not because people are cruel, but because behavior that isn't corrected gets repeated over and over again until it becomes normal, until being overlooked becomes your role. Here's the shift most people avoid. Respect isn't built through words. It's built through boundaries, not loud arguments, not emotional reactions, but quiet decisions. The decision to pull back, to stop overgiving, to stop rewarding inconsistency. Because the moment you create distance, people feel it. The moment you raise your standards, people notice it. And the moment you stop tolerating what drains you, everything changes. Some will step up, others will disappear. But either way, you stop being ignored because you finally stopped accepting it. Now, here's a truth that feels both heavy and freeing. Sometimes it's not you, it's where you are and who you're surrounded by. Because not every room is built to recognize your value. Not every circle is designed to understand your mindset, your energy, your depth. And when you keep trying to be seen in a place that can't see you, you don't become more visible, you become smaller. You start over-explaining, over-giving, over-adjusting, trying to earn attention that was never meant for you in the first place. And that slowly drains you. But here's the shift. The right people don't need convincing. They don't need performance. They don't need you to prove your worth. They recognize it naturally. They listen when you speak. They respond when you reach out. They value your presence without you having to fight for it. There's no chasing, no confusion, no second guessing, just alignment. So, if you feel constantly ignored, don't just question your actions, question your environment. Because sometimes the most powerful move you can make is not becoming louder, but choosing a room where you don't have to be. So the next time that feeling hits you, that quiet sting of being overlooked, don't react the way you used to. Don't rush to fix it. Don't chase their attention. Don't shrink yourself just to be seen. Pause. Let the silence speak. And then ask yourself, honestly, am I overextending or undervaluing who I am? Because the truth is, attention isn't something you force. It's something you attract by how you carry yourself, by what you tolerate, by what you refuse to chase. The moment you stop trying to be everywhere for everyone, you become rare. The moment you stop explaining your worth, you start embodying it. And when that shift happens, everything around you adjusts. People either rise to meet your standards, or they quietly fall away. And that's not a loss. That's alignment. That's growth. That's power. So if something inside you clicked today, don't ignore it. Own it. Type, "I see it now," in the comments. And if you're ready to stop being overlooked and start being respected, hit subscribe, because this isn't just a video. It's the beginning of a different version of you.